What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 2 of the Crusaders Podcast. This week joined by InvisibleDizz.
Hello.
LancelotArcher.
What's up?
Techsnologic.
Hello.
Our special guest, Chuck.
What's up?
And I'm SENPIEMAN. What's up, guys?
All good. How are you?
Doing all right. I've got a beer. Beer is good. Beer is life.
Beer is good. Beer is
Happy
life.
Friday.
Happy Friday indeed.
Happy Friday.
I just got my
Happy
I had my
Friday.
suicide cup, and that's my suicide.
I have a tiny bit of water left.
Oh, that is not going to last you a whole podcast, man.
I've got Kraken and Strawberry Coke, so I'm happy.
Strawberry Coke, or you mean cherry Coke?
No, Strawberry Coke this time. I've actually
Strawberry
discovered that
Coke.
the whole twisted strawberry thing is a lot better for Kraken than what Cherry Coke is. Cherry Coke is amazing for it, but twisted strawberry is even better.
Okay.
I can't really
Never had
give a
it.
response to that, but okay.
Never heard of it.
It's
Never
one of their
heard
newer random flavors. So
This is the pre-order for the bug snacks, isn't it?
That's it.
The
That's
last
PS5
remix of Coke that I ever drank was when they added lime to the Diet Coke. Bad. That's about it.
yeah.
All right, Dizz,
Yeah? What's up?
lead us away, dude. What we doing? Let's go.
Well, let's talk to Chuck first to begin with. So, Chuck,
Oh,
tell us
man.
about your whole life. Who are you?
Everything.
Well, you know,
Where did it all begin?
one time. That's right.
So my parents had sex back in September 1962.
When a mommy and a daddy love each other.
They take their money, they go to the GameStop, they put down that pre-order.
On the baby.
Exactly.
No, but
Exactly.
just tell us, like, where do you stream? Like, tell us about the TLG. Tell us what games you like to play. Obviously, we can see from the background that you're a massive game collector. Just tell us about you when it comes to gaming.
Well, right now, man, as most of you guys know, you guys can find me on Twitch as Chuck Z Taylors 1, and I stream just about everything, from retro to modern. I collect video games. I think right now we're close to 1,050 video games and like 29 systems.
dude.
So, yeah, we have a little bit of a problem. But it's good. It's a good
Just a
problem.
tiny one.
Smidgen. A
That's a
smidgen.
small one.
It's a
See,
little
I
bit,
don't
it's a
see it
little
as a
bit.
problem. I see you as archiving a history of entertainment that some people will never know.
Yep. And
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
what we're hoping for.
Saying
and
that-
I'm all about physical media.
Saying
All
that,
about
do
physical.
they
I
have
don't-
Gamers Anonymous over there?
You know what? If we were to make that a thing, we'd probably make a whole bunch of money. But they have special places for people like us. But
It's called the internet.
yeah, that's it, man. I stream just about everything, man. Enjoy hanging out with the community. TLG is I'm one of the founders of TLG, and
Yep.
we have a nice team on our Discord. You know, I obviously impart with you guys as well, and we're just all about growth, man. Showing love and spreading the love all over Twitch, because it's hard out there for people who first get into streaming. They don't really
Exactly.
know where to go and where to seek, the communities at, but we're all about growing and sharing the love, man.
Yeah.
Helping
But I
people
th-
hit
I
their
think
goals.
We didn't cover it. Like, did we actually say what TLG stood for those who may not
Oh,
heard it earlier?
No, not yet.
Yeah.
True Legion Gamers.
There we go.
So yeah,
Nice.
we're
And you've actually got
finally
merch
got a-
out now as well.
yeah.
Oh wow, it's actually wearing it.
He's
Wow.
Prepared.
Yeah.
We got merch, man.
Just
Gotta
flexing it.
get it while you can.
Well, I'm wearing my Dizz merch, but the name's on the back. I'm not going to turn around.
The logo is invisible, so you know.
Yeah, it's a good point.
It's invisible. But yeah, that's it, man. We're just I've been streaming for about 2 years, and it's been awesome.
Yeah,
It's fun. Yeah, get to meet a bunch of cool people along the way, man.
Yeah.
Now,
true.
I remember you saying that this was a while ago when we were talking, that you were on a mission to own possibly every single Nintendo Switch game that has a physical copy.
with the slight kicks of no sports. I'm
okay.
trying to.
That's
I'm not
big
going
slight
for a
caveat.
complete collection.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not going for a complete collection. I think right now Switch I'm at 240 around there.
Wow.
Wait,
But,
240 Switch games.
240
Yeah.
Switch
Not
games.
not
alone.
counting sports.
No sports games. No
Damn,
sports
dude.
games. No fillers. No 1-2 switch. None of that stuff. All that stuff is like not allowed in my collection.
Well, you have 225 more than me. I think.
And
I
is
have
that
15
all-
Switch games?
Is that all purely pphysical copies as well?
Yeah, all that red stuff right there.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
all
No,
Switch.
I've seen the background. I've
Yeah.
seen the background. I'm just making sure
It's
that it is
bad,
all
yeah.
physical.
Oh yeah. That's all physical. I don't own. I think I own a couple of digital video games. But I buy them for the fact that I don't want to open my physicals.
Oh,
So-
fair enough. Yeah.
Like Hotline Miami, I bought it physical and then I got a digital version to play because I
Right.
didn't want to open the physical. But
Mm.
yeah, that's the only way I get digitals
Now, as
to not open.
we mentioned
bad.
on the last episode, like with the PS5 having its own digital edition stuff, we're at least assuming that Sony or their developers will more than likely release physical copies of collector's editions, but with download codes. Have you done anything similar to that with Switch? Like, say for example, with the whole Fortnite blowout, where they release physical cases with the looks and everything of an actual physical game, but just a download code in there. Do you include anything of that in your collection?
No.
No.
I despise that. I think that's like the biggest slap in the face to a collector. Like in my opinion, that's a slap in the face. Like if you're gonna sell me a case and all that crap, like give me a cart too. Like don't
Yeah.
just give me a code.
Mhm.
I think the only case that I'm interested in finding is the Legend of Zelda expansion case that they did for GameStop. That's the only case that I would want, only because I like Zelda that much.
Mm.
But I wouldn't buy a digital code in a box. That's, to me, it's a waste.
That's fair enough.
To be fair, it is. I mean, considering that obviously you've got like the as mentioned Fortnite and stuff, they release packs and bundles of stuff of items that all come with a download code, but then have a physical case as well. In my opinion, as good as that is, because obviously some stores might be able to discount the price and stuff like that, but at the same time, it is also increasing actual physical plastic waste and stuff. Like, to me, you could just literally print out a digital code on a piece of paper that, once used, can be recycled. You release it in a case, that's plastic, that cannot be recycled. That, to me, is the biggest waste of production, manufacturing, money that anyone can actually do, because it is literally useless.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I really don't blame you on no digital codes. I really don't.
And I want to say, I think the only game, and I'm looking at it now, the only game that I have that I bought a case for that had a digital code was Cuphead, when Cuphead was going to get announced. They did a
Okay.
small print of a case with a code in it and a cover art and all that stuff. I think it was like $16 at a Best Buy. But once I bought it, about a week later, I never saw it again. And I think on eBay they're going for like about $100 right now. I'm sure the code is probably expired already. But it's the thought of, that's a game that I feel like will never get a physical release.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Mm.
And I like that game a lot. So that one I kind of just, I did it for that. But other than that, you won't.
Was it Limited Run that did that?
No.
No, I think
actually
it was the
Best
developers
Buy.
themselves that did it.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, they released a very small amount. I think they released maybe a couple hundred, and that was it.
Right.
So,
Very
but that
small
now that I
ones.
think about it, that's the only code I would buy in a box, man. That was it.
Mm.
So you've already broken your own rule. I mean, you've been here, what, 10 minutes?
Well, y'all said for Switch, so we're okay. I mean, for Switch we didn't do it, but yeah, that one
I get
that one
that,
was a
man, I
while
get
back.
Okay, now,
And Cuphead
it's-
is still a game that I, to this day, vow to never play because I will get angry and I will break my Switch.
I have
Really?
that for the not for the N64, what the for the Xbox One, and I still haven't beat the first boss. I rage quit. Alex and I played it together. We duoed. I rage quit and uninstalled it,
Yep.
and I haven't touched it since.
Wow.
It just seems like a game that I would be terrible at.
What really
But what
annoyed me
about-
is last year I was watching Games Done Quick, and there was a guy on there who literally speedrun the entire game in about an hour and a half. Like, bitch, I can't even get past the first level. How are you doing the entire game in an hour and a half?
It makes you wonder if you're that good at video games or if he was just cheating. You know what?
or he put an unnatural amount of time into that game, and has
Yeah.
the patience of a saint.
Yes.
Don't
Crazy
forget,
person.
quite a few of those games done quick. Like, not all of them. Some of them are genuine skill, but a few of them, they do take advantage of glitches.
Oh yeah,
of
yeah,
course.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the odd space where you could phase through a wall or something.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
speaking of face to a wall,
I think I saw one run of, I think it was the latest version of Prey on there, where they literally managed to phase through walls and literally go from the very first part of the game to the last part of the game within 10 minutes or 7 minutes, something like that. And it's like,
Yeah.
what is the point?
yeah.
It's just
Of
not
that.
enjoying the game, is it?
It's
Exactly.
So, like,
I mean-
like speaking of that, I watched a video of somebody speedrunning Sekiro in under 35 minutes, and that's not even physically possible unless you actually break the game. And as I was watching this video, the dude literally broke the game. He was like phasing through walls, swimming through the sky, reloading a checkpoint, doing the same thing again to get to the final boss. I'm like, what's the point? And he had an actual checklist on the side of his screen. It was like,
Yeah.
by 21 minutes we get to this, by 35 minutes we hit here, by this. It was like, I was like, what's the point? If you're gonna
And I
glitch your way to
bet-
the end, why do it?
And I bet when he was done at the end of the game, he had a proud, smug look on his face.
Yeah.
Oh,
just
he
like,
probably
I
did. He
did
probably
it.
did. But the
It's
thing is, though,
like, no, you
Sekiro is one of
glitched
those.
it.
Yeah, Sekiro is one of those games that is designed to naturally test you as a gamer, and yet the dude did it in 35 minutes. I'm like, the first fight takes 35 minutes if you're good.
So 2-3 hours for me then.
Oh, dude, you probably get it till next month.
I bought that game collector's edition. I drove 4 hours to go pick that crap up, and when
Oh,
I
yeah,
brought
I
it
remem-
home and played it, I wanted to throw it. Like I hate it as soon as I bought it.
Oh my god!
So-
I remember. I think I saw you post a picture of it, and I was like, "That's a really nice looking edition." And then, yeah, I'm pretty sure most people rage on that game, but it's one of those games that if you complete it, it's a sense of achievement.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I've seen some people spend ages. Like New Game Plus on that is even more insane than just doing it on normal.
Man.
Let me say, I'm a Dark Souls 3 veteran. I've New Game Plus Dark Souls 3 7 times already.
Really?
Wow.
And I
Damn,
hate,
dude.
and I hate Sekiro. I hate it.
Wow.
So,
So it's just
yeah,
that much harder
it's-
then.
It's just annoying.
Yeah.
Well, isn't
just-
it different battle mechanics as well?
I don't
Yes,
know.
and you lose your stamina a lot faster,
Right.
man. That's like
Right,
two
okay.
swings and your stamina's gone. There's no weapon upgrades. You can't change your weapon, so it's like you're just stuck with what you got and
Yeah.
pure
And they
skills.
they do pretty much emphasize you have to parry. You have to learn to parry a lot. They
Exactly.
don't expect you to beat the bosses or the whoever you're facing off in one go. They expect you to fight him multiple times to learn when to parry. Like it, that in Sekiro is pretty much a parry system. It's all it is.
Yeah. That's why I don't like it. No. Love the art style. Don't like the game.
Oh yeah,
It does
I
look
totally
great.
agree.
It
looks
looks
it's
phenomenal.
it's a visually stunning game. Undoubtedly one of the best I've seen from last year. But hard AF. And I was lucky enough to have someone gift it to me, and he's still waiting for me to play it on stream. And I'm like, one day,
One day.
sir, one day.
Does the name of that person happen to begin with a P by any chance?
No,
No? Or an S?
no.
No? Okay. Fair enough. I was expecting Phenom to have gifted that.
Oh, okay.
No,
I didn't know where you were going. With
I
that.
was fully expecting like Phenom to have gifted that to Lance and expected him to play it on stream.
I
Just
only
like he
thought
did
you were
with me
gonna
with
ask me-
Resi.
I thought you were going to ask me to spell out penis for them, but I was like, no, it wasn't penis, but sure. I was like, so where are we going with this?
Did a penis buy you that game?
I was like, no penis bought me this game.
Man, that game is terrible. It's a great game, but not for me. I like watching other people play it.
You just like to see them
Absolutely.
suffer like you did. It's like, suffer, damn it.
Yeah.
You
No,
throw
but
that
then
controller down.
You watch them play, and it's like a breeze, and you're kind of like, well, what the hell am I doing wrong? Like, why am I not that good at that?
I find
it's
it.
pretty
I
good.
watched a streamer by the name of Anthony play it, and he's done several runs on it, but he did the first one with keyboard and mouse, and then he did a second one with controller. So I watched it when he went to do a controller run, and I was like, oh, let me see how this goes. I came back 8 hours later. I was like, what happened to the controller? Nah, bro. I went to keyboard and mouse. Enough with the controller. I was like, okay then. So the controller run of Sekiro just lasted all of 5 hours. And he was like, went back to keyboard and mouse. I was like, fair enough.
Yeah.
I'm controller boy for life, man. I will
I'll
always go
convert you, don't
controller
worry.
over mouse and keyboard.
See,
You should see how hard it was for me to get Dizz to do Minecraft dungeons with a keyboard and
I
mouse.
didn't want it, man. I didn't
It's
want it.
so easy. So easy.
I
mean,
got
I'll
so
admit,
upset when my controller stopped working.
I admit though, they could have done the controls for the Minecraft dungeons a little bit differently, because it's literally based on the mouse point, click, and it moves. And if you go to an enemy and click it, it does the attack, obviously by holding your left mouse button. But because I'm so used to pressing WASD, I would press it and nothing happened. And I'm like, oh my God, I need to press 1, 2, 3 to activate my abilities. So I'm sitting there like,
my gosh.
and then I having just like forced myself to learn the 1, 2, 3, move the mouse click. I walked into Modern Warfare and did the exact same thing. I was like, this doesn't do anything. I was like, oh my God, WASD, Lance. Remember WASD?
That's the worst, man. Getting so like accustomed to playing something, and then when you go to switch to the next game, you're hitting buttons, and you're like, why isn't it doing what I want it to do? It happens all the time to me, man.
And you're just like, God damn, stupid fingers. Remember?
I
it's-
must
it's
admit,
tough.
I'm struggling at the moment playing Animal Crossing. It's the first time
How
that
do you
I've
struggle in that?
no.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
struggling. Shh, let me finish.
Keyboard and mouse or controller?
I'm struggling because Animal Crossing is the first game that I've played on my Switch for a long time, and the backwards buttons, man. B is action, A is don't do anything. What is it? My thumbs don't know what they're doing.
Let me just tell you that you don't have to do anything in that game.
The amount of times that I've shook the trees and a wasp nest has fallen out, and I've just put my net away instead of swiping it. It's ridiculous.
Wait. How? Because the only button to put your tool away is the down button on your arrow keys. How the
Exactly.
are you not swiping at those things?
He's probably pressing down to run away, and he's like, God damn it. I've got joysticks for this.
Keyboard and mouse. There's a wasp. WASD.
I haven't played Animal Crossing, man, in about a good 2 months. My island's probably dead.
I gotta tell you, your villagers are gonna want to leave, man.
They probably already left.
You're gonna have a ton of
Like,
weed.
you know what? I'm like, it's all right.
You're
I
just
built an
gonna go back
arcade in
to
my
an
house. That's
empty
all I wanted.
island.
Yeah. But you'll notice Chuck will probably have really great turnip prices.
Don't
that's-
get me started on turnip prices. Do not get me started on turnip
Yeah,
prices.
Tell us what happened the other day, buddy.
Oh,
what
you
happened.
started it, didn't you?
You've gone
Like-
so red, dude. Okay, explain.
Okay, so I woke up the other morning, I think it was Thursday or Wednesday morning, something like that, and I checked Animal Crossing. I think it was about 11:30. I had prices of 460 bells per turnip.
Wow.
So I was thinking,
Damn.
this is a high price. Let me get this on Turnip Exchange. So for me to get the maximum amount of time on Turnip Exchange, I set it back to 7. I set my time back to 7:45. Now, I don't normally do time travel. However, I wanted to make some money from this. So I set it back to 7:45. Spent 15 minutes getting all fences and everything else set up so that people could only go to the shop to sell their turnips. I set up the last fence. I go into the shop. I double check the turnip prices. 96 bells. What the
What the hell happened there?
It turns
It's because you broke your moral compass, you prick.
It turns out.
Wow.
It turns out, as soon as you go back to before the shop opens, Which is exactly the same. Like, if you would reach the afternoon price and go back to the morning to get the same afternoon price, it doesn't work. It goes back to whatever the next price should be. I was pissed. I literally
should have
reset
gone back to a minute after it opened.
Yeah, I didn't know this, did I? So I spent a good hour constantly resetting back to 7.59, 7.59, 7.59, 7.59, just to try and get another decent price. It didn't happen. The highest I got was 194. I didn't.
801 is your friend, man. 801.
I didn't
God.
know that, did I? I reset so many times and got so pissed off with it.
Oh my God. You went from nearly 500 bell per turnip down to 98.
Yeah.
So you broke your moral code and you f***ed yourself over somehow.
Yeah, I suffered for it. I suffered for it really badly.
Man, just think of all that money
Cheaters
could have been
never
spent
win.
on a PlayStation 5.
I'm not a cheater, okay? Look, if you call me a cheater just for setting myself back a couple of hours, you look at every other that has skipped day after day after day after day just to rush through the entire thing. You could
Well, if it makes you happy, I bought 20 turnips. I forgot I had them, and when I finally went to go look at them, they were rotted all over the house. So
Which
I
is
guess
actually
it
how
happened.
you get one of the creatures for the museum.
No,
you
two,
use rotted
two.
turnips.
Two, actually.
But I left it in the house, not outside.
Yeah.
So
Oh, if you leave it outside, you get ants, and that's for the museum.
And flies.
See, I don't
So,
think
yeah,
it
I
is
got
flies.
screwed.
I
No,
think
you do.
it's just trash. for flies.
I'm in the southern hemisphere. I'm getting flies at the moment and ants.
Man, you just filthy.
I mean, again with the moral compass, man. You're playing in the southern hemisphere. I believe you're a northern hemisphere kind of guy.
Look, my main switch is northern hemisphere. My switch light is southern hemisphere. Okay.
And also,
I get
moral
both.
compass. What have you done to your original Switch?
You can with my northern hemisphere. Okay.
That's all I'm saying, man.
God.
That's all I'm saying. So yeah, Animal Crossing. I mean, that's the game that's pretty much consumed my life in lockdown.
As we heard last week.
And I've had some bad news this week,
Oh.
which was, even though I've treated him like a Greek god, Sly the camo alligator, he asked to leave my island.
Did you tell him to f off? He's staying as a prisoner.
I told him he's staying, right? And he was like, cool, I didn't realise you felt that way about me. And I think he now thinks we're boyfriends. I'm not sure. But this is the thing. When you get someone that wants to leave your island, and if you tell them no, or if you tell them yes, that automatically resets the clock for that process to happen again. So I told him he's staying on my island. So therefore, no one can want to leave my island for at least 15 days, real time. So I log back into the game next day. There's a thought bubble above Sly the alligator's head.
Oh God.
Oh no.
He wants to leave again. 2 days in a row, when it's meant to have a 15-day process of nothing. So obviously I told the bitch no, and I locked him in his house. And I've literally just surrounded fences around his house.
Oh my God.
And I've not seen him since, so there we go.
Sly
Have you checked in
Sly
on
the
him?
crocodile is in lockdown.
Yeah.
Literally, yeah.
I have
he's on
locked him in.
quarantine.
He's definitely in quarantine.
So yeah, so talking about games that make me go crazy during lockdown, Chuck, what have you been playing to keep you entertained during this crazy time?
Well, for me,
Let's just shoot Larry.
I've been doing a little bit of arcade games, man. I've been sticking to retro and doing I got a Neo Geo Arcade Stick Pro, and
Nice.
that has been like my new toy. So
Awesome. Has that got games in the Fight Stick then? So you just plug the Fight Stick in and then it's like a mini console?
it's kind of like a mini console. It has 20 games installed, but with a couple of files here and there. We have like about 200 on there now.
Oh
So,
wow.
I was playing like Cadillacs and dinosaurs yesterday on there, so it was great.
Oh my God. Cadillac and dinosaurs? Wow.
Yes.
Holy
so
crap.
It's good. We've been playing a lot of that. Playing a lot of COD, man. I don't like being a little fanboy about COD, but I've been playing Plunder, and it's been enjoyable, man. Been getting some good laughs. I don't want to turn into a COD only stream.
Nah, that's fine. You can talk about it.
It's something. No, me in general, because I know that happened to me with Fortnite. When I got on the Fortnite craze, I was stuck on there for a couple months, and it was terrible.
I think that happened to a lot of streamers.
Yeah,
before,
we have someone else in the call
that
happened that happened to. So
yeah, but COD has been fun, man. I've been playing with the team, and we've been playing Plunder, hanging out. But that's about it, man. We did, I think, The Last of Us 1. We're getting ready for The Last of Us 2 Friday. Yeah, we'll be doing an unboxing of that. I bought the collector's edition, so. But yeah, just picking up games and playing what I already have and not playing the new stuff I've been buying. So it's like, oh, this is so pretty.
Always the way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that's it,
yeah.
man. But yeah, a lot of COD, a lot of retro games, a lot of arcade stuff. That's what I've been beating. Stuff I haven't beaten in a lifetime, basically. Stuff I didn't have enough quarters to play back in the day.
Very nice. So, Senpai, any new games you've been playing during lockdown?
Not since last week, no. I'm still on the 12 to 13 hours of Animal Crossing a day. Not really doing much at the moment. I got my campsite today, which was
12
nice.
12 hours a day?
Jeez.
Yeah, I spend a lot of my Nook miles going around to different islands and getting resources. And planting my trees and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you got to plant those trees, man.
I mean, I've got to make money to pay off my stuff to get the next stuff. I mean, I had an extra room added on that cost like 500,000 bells. It took me 3 days to earn that.
That Tom Nook is a right prick.
That
I tell you.
That guy's a thief.
That guy is a proper wanker.
Okay, so here's the thing. I don't have Animal Crossing, but the funny thing was, when it released, I was on Twitter, and for some reason, Tom Nook was trending, and I had no idea what the heck that was about. And I was like, who's Tom Nook, and why is everyone raging at Tom Nook? Until I looked at a tweet that someone from my follower, I was like, oh, this is that dude in Animal Crossing that everyone's going mad over. And then I figured out what it was about. Yeah, and I was like, oh, people are mad at him. It's okay. It's weird that you guys got angry at, well, I'm assuming it's a raccoon, but it was just funny that he was trending.
Yeah, it's a Tanuki, I believe.
That's a raccoon, you idiot.
No, it's not. It's not. Tanuki is different to a raccoon. Check out your Japanese law, you douche.
What is Tanuki then translated into then?
I don't know.
It's pretty much translated as raccoon.
Yeah, but aren't they mythological
creatures? Exactly.
I mean, they are featured in mythological stories, but that's for another podcast about Japanese myths. Yeah, that's not what we talk about here, my friend. We're talking about Tom Nook himself and how we're going to kill him.
Yes.
He's been robbing us.
Get the money back as well.
Because I've tried shanking that with an axe, and unfortunately you can't get close enough.
It's always behind that desk.
Yeah.
He's running
desk keeps him safe.
Witcher shields, man, I'm telling you, because as soon as you swing at him with an axe, he just bounces off.
But Tech, let's come to you next. You've been playing anything different for lockdown?
Not so much. I mean, I've been replaying Pokemon Shield over the last few days, which I've literally just got finished last night. I've actually managed to beat Hop for the final story time, which I never actually managed on stream, but I've finally finished that. Working through my Pokedex now.
Nice.
I've been playing through Assassin's Creed Odyssey over the last few days as well, which I am enjoying. However, I was going to bring that up during the whole controller/keyboard and mouse controversy that we had. I cannot play it on keyboard and mouse at all. I don't know.
Good.
I don't know where the dodge or the parry button is, so I just play it on controller.
Spacebar.
One of us. Oh
my god.
Oh, dude, I've at least upgraded past that. I'm on an Xbox One controller at least, so.
Ooh, Mr. Moneybags.
Exactly.
When lockdown first started, I got Assassin's Creed 2 from Ubisoft, and I tried playing it on keyboard and mouse, and I couldn't do it. So I plugged my controller in.
It doesn't fucking work.
But no. But when you plug your controller in, you can still play the game and everything like that. But your on-screen prompts are still for the keyboard. They don't switch over even after restarting the game. So it's like, use the push button. It's like, hang on, I can't remember what the push button is. Is it this one? And you accidentally stab someone, and you desync. Like, for fuck's sake.
I mean, I
I
have
don't
been
get on
enjoying
with
Odyssey.
controllers.
I have been enjoying Odyssey. It's the first time I've ever actually played it because I never got all that far into Origins. I borrowed it off my cousin on the PlayStation for a while. I could never really get all that into it, but Odyssey I am enjoying. It's really, really pretty. And then I also got Need for Speed Heat a couple days back.
Nice.
Because that was
a
on
fun
sale for
game.
like £20, something like that on Steam. And I'm actually happy I bought that because they announced full crossplay for that a couple days back, which is coming out. So across Xbox, PlayStation, PC, Steam, EA, all that kind of thing. And I'm really happy that I've actually got that now. Because that is a fun game to play. I enjoy my Need for Speed games.
I definitely enjoyed that game. I was lucky enough to get it for free when I had Origin Premiere. So it was like that and Star Wars Fallen Order back to back on the months, and I got to play them both. And Need for Speed Heat was a lot of fun. Really was a lot of fun. The races were quite cool. A lot of people were like, do you play online? I was like, no, because you guys are trash me with your custom cars. I'm just using the stock ones that I modify in game. And they're like, oh, you should come online. I'm like level 300. I'm like, I'm at 7. What am I going to do at level 7? I wish a race with slips. This isn't Fast and the Furious.
This car ain't that fast.
It's not that fast. It's a Honda Civic. That's it.
See, with me, because I got the deluxe edition, I actually have the option of running like a 150 rated car in 120 rated races, and I'm just thrashing everything.
Yeah.
But I just know that a time is going to come where, I'm going to need to change car.
Oh, dude, by that point,
you
you would have earned enough money that you could buy up to the next level of cars. And then with the minute you buy those cars, or you can even, I think is that you can actually race and win a car from someone. And then you take that car and you spend the next 20 races thrashing everything.
Yeah.
Like you get, like, they give you the BMW and I think a Mercedes. Is that the cars you get?
I'm running a Lancer at the moment. Mitsubishi Lancer.
Yeah, there's Mitsubishi Lancer. You get a BMW and I think there's a Mercedes later on you get. And they will last you pretty much to nearly 2/3 of the way through the game. You can actually kit them up to last you that long. But then if you find cars as you level up through it that take your fancy, you can buy them, which I did. There was like certain cars I thought, I'm going to get this one, but this looks good. I'm going to get this one, this looks good. And then you can mod them as you go along. There are some races which don't make any sense because when they tell you to put these mods on a car, you still lose. I was like, this car is designed to go off-road. How is the 4x4 beating me?
That's terrible.
Yeah, and I was like, you know what? I'm done. I won. I beat the main campaign. I'm out. And no, I don't do online racing because I'm not going to race against custom cars.
See, I do a lot of online racing when it comes to GTA 5, but that's probably about it.
But you, sir, are undefeated as the first place loser. And the king of the DNFs.
I always come second. Always come second.
Your number one clip on your channel is you getting cucked at first place.
Dude, I was like this far away from winning, and someone just goes, woo.
It was so funny. You were so excited to think you were going to win, and next thing you know, you were like, no, damn it. If you had a face cam back then, that would have been hilarious to have seen your reaction.
It happens to the best of us, bro.
It does, but it's
and
even
the worst,
funny when it happens to Dizz. Yeah.
But still, so Lance, what have you been playing during lockdown?
Mine's been a variation of games. I've gone through a few. Right now it's season 4 of Modern Warfare, Destiny 2's new season, which is in prep of the September stuff that they announced earlier this week, which, to be fair, I'm looking forward to, but I'm not like hyping myself to be like, oh, this is going to be the best thing Destiny's done in years. I'm kind of tempering my expectations for it. I'm just doing the season, grind it out. I'm pretty sure before September even hits, I'm going to be done with the game by the end of July of what I need to do, unless there's a story or some sort of content I need to get that's going to progress in September. I'm more anchoring towards Modern Warfare at the moment because I've just been enjoying that more. I've been enjoying the Warzone and playing multiplayer. So like in multiplayer, I've set myself tasks to go and get certain skin for guns. Like right now, I'm working on the Obsidian skin for certain guns, and I need to get an average of 15 kills a game 200 times. But if you do say like you go on a tear and you get like 60 kills in one game, that's 4 games tallied towards the 200. So it sort of like counts towards it in that aspect. So I've been doing that. Got a win on Warzone today while streaming with Viking and Phenom. So it was quite fun to get a win in season 4.
Nice.
And then I was playing Minecraft Dungeons, which I thoroughly enjoy, and there's DLC for that out next month. I think the first one's out next month. Been enjoying that a lot. I have this really fantastic build where I can melt and burn everything that comes towards me, and it's hilarious. I
can do that as well, but it's just my natural scent. It just
it's that natural musk, yeah.
It's lockdown, man. I don't need to shower. I'm not going anywhere.
Hasn't showered in weeks.
Your poor wife.
Oh god. So that's why you wanted to bring up duck butter again today.
Oh, I'm packing. Chuck will tell you about duck butter later, man.
Or we reference you back to episode 1.
Episode 0.
Episode 0, big part, episode 0. But yeah, other than that, what else did I play? I played Jurassic World Evolution, had fun on that. What else have I dabbled on? We've been doing Divinity. Myself and Tex have been doing Divinity Original Sin 2 every Monday for like the last year and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a while. But what the funny thing is, Monday gone, we are literally at the final boss now.
Well, we think it's the final boss.
Don't take this from me. We're at the final boss.
You're at the final boss, man. You're at the final
If we have
boss.
another fight after this, I might not make it. Because I'm pretty sure I cut myself and not going back to get a skill last time. So I'm hoping we're at the final boss. But either way, we're at a part where it's a big fight is about to happen, and someone in my chat said we are pretty much at the final boss. So I was like, okay, thank God. But that's been majority of the stuff I'm playing. I haven't jumped back into a few other games just because nothing's really happened. Like Division 2 was a game that I thoroughly enjoyed. I still enjoy it. It's just that right now there's nothing that's making me want to come back to it. The title update 10 is due in a couple of weeks, because after that, I think a month after the title update 10 drops in with all the changes to the guns and drop rates and stuff like that, and changes to the NPCs, the second raid is going live in July. I will probably watch it. Yeah, Senpai had a lot of technical difficulties with that game. Like literally, he could play the beta no problem. The minute the full game came out, it worked, and then decided to like do this. It just nosedived into the point where he just wouldn't let him play anymore.
I can't even play it off stream.
Yeah, can you not?
No,
Like,
even on
super
low settings, everything like that won't run. It's potato.
He double clicks the icon and it just comes up with no on the screen.
What error?
Computer says no.
Not a layer.
But yeah, like the raid for Division 2 is supposed to be set in July sometime, and I'm looking forward to watching it. But I still, if I could ever get a team together, I would like to run a Division 2 raid. Just haven't had a team to get together to do it. That's the only thing. But it's one of those.
All you
I
got
would
to do
love
is
to try.
ask. I got your back.
Really?
I don't have the game, but I
Get it? Let's go.
Let's do this.
You can't use controller on this one though.
I literally shoot potatoes in whatever game I play. But I got your back, man. I got your back.
Cool. Just need you and 6 others.
I haven't played Division 2 in a long time. I maxed out my character and
Mm-hmm.
got all like the exotics I can get and put it down. I haven't touched it since.
Yeah. Did you not do the Warlords DLC? The Warlords of New York.
I think I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did that one too. Once I finished everything with one of my buddies, like me and him were running it together. Once we finished everything that we could, we just kind of like put it down.
That's the problem. Like Division 1 kind of did the same thing, but then they came back with like this big expansion, and it kind of brought a load of people back, and people were kind of like happy that they revitalized the community a little bit. Division 2's kind of done the same thing. At this point, I don't know if the announcement of the raid is going to make people come back, because what they were supposed to have done is like the first year of Division 2's release was meant to be like, here's 4 episodes of content, and I think we got 2, and then they were like, here's Warlords DLC. I'm like, where's episodes 3 and 4? It was one of the things where it's kind of been they had this great E3 presence maybe 2 years ago, and then it kind of whatever they had planned just fumbled and fell to the wayside, and now it's in a weird spot again. I'm pretty sure in the future at some point they will do something that revitalizes and everyone jumps back into the game, and it will have a huge community and people will go nuts over it. But right now, I think just because of the lockdown and the way games are going at the moment, it's just everyone's trying to find something to play. People are just going back to old things. Back catalogs are getting completed, stuff like that. I mean, my big thing that I'm looking forward to, I'm playing Final Fantasy VII anyway, the remake, and I've been playing that sort of like every weekend. But then after that, there's nothing outside of Cyberpunk and obviously Destiny 2's DLC that I've got really planned for. Like there's nothing else. Like Cyberpunk was my big thing for September. Then Destiny dropped their thing down. I was like, thanks. In September, busy month for me now. And yeah, that was it. Oh, guest appearance of
Kitty.
Cat. Nice.
Kitty,
Sorry.
That's all right.
kitty.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much what, in response to the question of what I've been playing lockdown, that's been what I've been doing in lockdown. So yeah, I've kept myself busy, but in looking into the future, I'm like, what else is there really to play and look forward to? Cyberpunk's the main big one for me, really.
Yeah.
I think that's a little more exciting than most games I've seen on the PS5 release. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Hey, don't disappoint Tech like that. We've already confirmed he's buying all of them.
Yeah. I don't think
Hashtag for the kids.
Yeah.
Right, Chuck, I must admit, I have got a question for you. And this is purely based on like the consoles that I'm seeing in the background and stuff. But obviously,
you can't have them.
Shut up.
It's not for sale. I promise.
Obviously, you are a huge collector of absolutely everything. That includes games, accessories, consoles, everything. And as we can see,
Make him sound like a hoarder.
You should.
For real? There's a thin line, man. There's a thin line, okay?
Yeah, we call it collectors.
Yeah.
Collectors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, we can see the Spider-Man PS4 Pro behind you. We can see the Xbox One
Scorpio.
X behind you, I think it is.
Yeah.
You've got the two Switches behind you and stuff like that. How big of a actual kind of special edition console collector are you? So, say for example, like, would you get the Monster Hunter PlayStation, the God of War PlayStation, and all that kind of stuff, or are you rather more specific into what kind of consoles that you're going to get?
And how ridiculous is your contents insurance?
For me, I like console variants, but it's gotta like really be something. Like I do like the Monster Hunter PS4 Pro. Looks really good. That's one I'm hoping to find one day. But like the Spider-Man one, I got it. It looked, I know, right? They're expensive. But the Spider-Man one I liked, and I managed to get it like a week and a half early, so I was really happy for that. And
I'm sorry, a week and a half earlier. How tight are you with the guy at GameStop, man? Seriously.
You know, I couldn't open it or nothing like that. I couldn't do nothing with it until the release of Friday. But we got it a week and a half early. And then my Xbox is a Project Scorpio. Like, I like collector's edition or collector's consoles like that. Like, the Project Scorpio was a kind of like a one hit, and
that's it. One and done.
And the Spider-Man one as well. I've seen a couple of consoles where they do it, and then like next Black Friday they re-release it, and I'm just kind of like, why did I spend $400 then if you're gonna re-release it, kind of deal. I think the highest I go with collecting crazy like that would be like retro consoles. Like, I have a great Nintendo 64, and I have my TurboGrafx and a couple of consoles like that. Console variants like that are a little bit more where I go because they're older, they're a little bit more obscure, a little harder to find. Right now I'm working on getting a Sega Saturn, so that's gonna be my next pickup.
Still have that in the house.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Still have one of those.
I still really want to get the Pikachu N64. I've never.
Oh my word!
I've never actually owned.
Man.
I know they're around.
They are.
But I've never owned an N64 because when they released, I was very much a PlayStation kid, and I never went to the N64. Despite how much I loved Pokemon and everything else, I was very much a PlayStation kid. So I was PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, Xbox 360, and PlayStation 3 at the same time. But I never owned an N64. I owned a GameCube, just never an N64. So I've seen the Pikachu version of the N64 a couple of times during my trips over to Japan, and I was honestly really tempted to buy one. But I couldn't. I could afford it at the time, but I couldn't bring it back.
Right.
And I really want to get a Pikachu one while I'm over here, but the prices are just still a little bit too much for me to be able to actually afford one. So I don't know. We'll see what the future holds for a collection. For me.
Next time the gamers market is on in Holborn, I think it's like every something Sunday in March. We'll get you down to London.
The Royal National Theatre.
Yeah. I'm sure you'd be able to pick one up there.
If you don't mind me asking, what's the price over there for it?
I can look up.
I can quickly
now.
check eBay. At
Because
most.
my local retro game store actually has a couple of them. I want that one and I want a gold one, but my retro store, man, like they're really cool with the whole retro scene, and the owner there, for example, with my Sega Saturn, he's going to give it to me with a SD card and a Phantom chip, so it's gonna basically have full Sega Saturn library built in it. So I don't have to. Yeah, I don't have to go out and
hunt them down. Yeah.
Yeah.
exactly.
I mean, I'm seeing the Pikachu N64s, and they're about somewhere between 130 to 250 £.
Yeah,
So-
I'm seeing it anywhere between like 80 and £200 at the moment, which is probably like, I don't know, $110 to $250, something like that.
I might order one from over there, man. Over here, they're going for like $350 to $400.
Wow. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Now, obviously, most of these are going for bids and stuff, but there are very, very few buy it now offers. But even still, it is available at least.
It all depends on the quality as well. The cheaper it is for a buy it now, it's bound to be broken. And,
Yeah.
Or dirty and
Yeah.
Yeah. Scuff mark somewhere. Pikachu's missing an ear.
Pikachu has nail polish paint all over the place.
It happens. You send Pikachu to battle like X amount of times, he's gonna lose an ear at some point.
Somebody's crayoned the black back onto the Pikachu.
For real. I mean, and it's not hard to find variants. I got my Grape Nintendo 64 complete with the original controller and everything. I think I paid some kid at GameStop for like $25.
Wow.
He was trying to buy V-Bucks, and I was like, "Hey, I'll buy it from you."
V-Bucks.
Yeah, I was like, "Hey,
I stole it from the kid. Hey, it's $25. Go buy some V-Bucks. Give me a 64.
He said he wanted $25. I gave him exactly what he wanted. I didn't lowball him, but I was like, "Cool, man, great,
Wow.
awesome deal," you know.
Chuck's walking away.
Cool, man.
Chuck's walking away with a
Suck
fucking piece of history, and he's like, "Idiot." V-Bucks.
I was like, man. My buddy at GameStop, my buddy at GameStop, she was mad at me. She was like, "Are you seriously gonna do that?" I'm like,
Yeah.
I gave him what he wanted. I didn't lowball
I
him.
mean, if he's asking $25 for it,
He's like, "What do you mean?"
Me being a bad person would be like, "Hey, man, I'll give you 15." That's a bad person. I was like, you know what? I'll give you $25.
Or you'd be like, "Let me buy the V-Bucks for you," and we just trade. Just get some like 500 V-Bucks. V-Bucks, come on. You said you wanted V-Bucks. We didn't just discuss how many zeros at the end. Come on.
Look, that's the perfect thing about kids. That they're stupid.
Yeah.
They're all stupid.
Yeah.
Hey, they get to the point
that's true,
where
actually,
they become an adult, and then they have a choice in life to become smart or to stay stupid.
Yeah,
like
that's
it's
right.
their choice.
It's the funny thing is you say that, and I still remember that one time I was working in Blockbuster, and LA Noire had come out as one of the new releases for that month, and I remember a kid walking in with his dad, and his dad walked up to me. He goes, "I'd like to get this." He literally put the case down on the counter for me, so I just would like to get this. And he asked, and I was like, "You want this game?" And the dad went to the son. "What does that say?" And he was like, "What?" He goes, "What's the name of the title?" And he was like, "Lenore." And I was like, "What?" And his dad was like, "Lenore? That's LA Noire. What the hell am I sending you to school for?" And I'm not gonna lie, I had a smile on my face, and I was about to be like, "Dude, you just got caned by your dad." And we got it on camera. You know, I'm just saying.
for our international listeners, Lenore is also a type of fabric softener.
Well, that's probably around elsewhere as well. I don't know.
But it was like the best thing I'd ever seen of a dad caning his son, who was kind of like, "Dad, can you buy me this game? How do you pronounce it? Lenore, LA Noire." You know, and he's like, it's like, oh my god. And that for me was just like, that was the insight of the generation of gamers coming up. And I'm like, this is the future of gamers.
Yep.
It baffles me.
Stupidity.
It baffles me. Don't get me wrong. There are some big time streamers that make me laugh because they can't pronounce stuff. Like you look at the guys like Cloaksy, Tim the Tap Man, and stuff like that, and they try to sound smart, and it's amazing at how epically bad they fail. But it's funny because they try to sound smart. That's why they have 30,000 people watching them.
Weren't they close? Aren't they closer to our age though? Or at least Tim, anyway. I would have thought even close to our age.
Tim is T, and Cloaksy I think is in his 20s,
Oh,
like
there you
mid
go.
20s.
So-
Yeah, I mean, even still, it's just one of the things where you're like, I love it, but at the same time, I'm slightly worried for the future of gaming.
See, the thing that gets me messing up is there's two things. The first one is nice and simple, and that's names of people in Twitch chat. My God, the amount of people that have names where it's like 13 X's with a J somewhere in the middle. I've gotten to the point where I just call everyone dude. I'm like, hey, what's up, dude?
Hey, I do the same thing. I'm like, hey, dude, thank you for the follow. Like, I don't even bother to try no more. I'm
Just
like,
look
you know
at the
what?
name and just like words forgive you. It's like, what's
I'm
up,
just-
bruh?
Like,
How you doing, sister?
That's it.
Like, there's someone that followed my channel the other day, and I swear his name had like 13 numbers in it, and I'm like, like what? Hey, buddy. I'm not gonna read all of those numbers. Thank you for the follow. Blah blah blah.
Oh
but the
my
other
gosh,
thing that gets me is I'm currently playing through The Witcher 3 at the moment, and a lot of learning the lore is by reading the books that you steal from people's houses. But every book is written in ye old English, and my lord. Like, how the hell did we get by talking in that language?
I was watching one of your streams. I think it was probably the first Witcher stream that you did the other day, and you were trying to read.
just couldn't-
Like,
I couldn't
and you just
talk.
looked at a word. It's like, I'm going to try reading that. I can't remember what it was, but I facepalmed. It's like, it's this.
Oh, well, then you string the game then.
It's just got an E on the end of it.
He was like, what does this word say? The.
If it's not the English of now, I'm not gonna try, because I'll flub. I'm a word flubber.
Yeah.
Sometimes I talk too fast, I flub my words, and I end up just making noises that make no sense. So it's just not gonna happen.
Oh my
Not
God.
gonna happen.
And
That should
that's
be-
how we all became streamers.
That's how you become a streamer.
Are you bad with pronouncing names? You got this.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's the only qualification you need to be a streamer. Just pronounce everyone's name wrong.
That's it.
Oh,
Oh my
my
gosh.
word.
Yeah.
So
That
that's
happens to
me.
me too.
But okay, right, let's move on to the... It's not really the theme of the episode. Now, Chuck, I'm not sure if you've been informed of this because you were a pretty late guest, but we'll go to you last, so you got some time to think about it, and you're probably the perfect guest for this. But we're going to be talking
know that, I
about
promise.
our top 5 nostalgia games that bring us back to our childhood.
Got you.
So let's start with Senpai. We're streaming on your channel. Let's talk about what games bring you back to your childhood.
So we spoke about this on the podcast before last. The first one on the list is Metroid 2: The Return of Samus.
Yeah.
It was for Game Boy, and it was the first game I ever completed.
And that's going to bring back some good memories, man.
It brings back some good memories. We spoke about this last week. I haven't really played any of the other Metroid games that have come out since then. But there is one. Is it rumored or confirmed that's going to be coming out for the Switch? And just
Metroid
thinking
4.
about, just thinking about 2 again is like, well, okay, I need to play this. It's not that it's been long enough. It's I've left it too long. I want to jump back into it, and I'm going to do that with the next game that comes out.
If you
That's fair
still have a Wii or a Wii U, I do highly recommend Metroid 3. It is a
Never had a Wii.
really, really good game. I mean, even if you've got a Wii U, it will still play it. But I do recommend giving it a go. It is one of the better Wii games, in my opinion.
Okay.
Any others?
There was a joint second. So for the N64 and for the PS1, respectively, was WWF Attitude for the N64
Oh my God.
and WWF SmackDown for the PS1.
SmackDown.
Those 2 games.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, that's about. It was about the time that I started to get back into wrestling, like just at the tail end of the Attitude era. Oh, it was so much fun.
I love me a wrestling game, man. Yeah. I can't help it.
Yeah.
Not the modern ones. The modern ones are terrible, but the old school ones, they were good.
I think the last wrestling one I played was the All-Star Wrestling one. I think that was the very last one I played.
I rented one.
Me, my love of wrestling games started with N64, No Mercy, and WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Wow.
My God, those games were just absolutely phenomenal, which I'm proud to say I still have in the box with the original instruction booklet. And I don't have a large collection of classic games, but I'm proud to say I still have those with the N64. I just adore those wrestling games.
There was one that I didn't play, which was for the original Xbox, which was WrestleMania something or other.
WrestleMania 2000?
It may have been WrestleMania 2000. I think you're right, yeah. Never actually got around to playing it, but I watched a couple of my friends play it, and yeah, it didn't look... It didn't quite look like the N64 or the PS1 games that I was used to playing, but it was starting to get there for the growing modern sort of consoles.
I get that. So what's next?
GoldenEye 64.
Oh,
okay.
Nice.
Good classic.
I don't have to really explain why, do I?
No.
It was
No.
I mean, probably one of the greatest multiplayer games of that generation.
I mean, you may have to for me, considering, as mentioned earlier, I never owned an N64, so I never actually played it, but...
Best explanation, buy that Pikachu Nintendo 64 and buy that game.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's that good.
Yeah.
Trust me.
You know what you should do, Take all the money you would have spent on the PS5, buy those two, and you're set.
Put the rest
for
of
the
your
next
money
gen.
away.
And you'll have
You're
change.
set for the next gen, and you'll have change, exactly.
Look at that.
Then the last one was GTA Vice City.
Oh, good
Nice.
choice, dude.
Good
Vice
choice.
City.
Oh, nice.
I like Vice City more
one
for the
the
soundtracks.
music. Yeah, one for the music.
Yeah.
But then two because it was not the first open. I nearly said open source. The first open world sort of running around game. Because the first one I played for that was, it would be either Driver or there was a really obscure GTA-esque game called what was it called? I just had it. Getaway. It was kind of like an unofficial GTA London. You're a London
I know
gangster.
that one,
Yeah,
Really,
wasn't
really-
that released on the PSP?
That was no, I had that on PS2.
There was one I swear that was no, it was GTA Chinatown, and it was like the original GTA games where it was top down.
Yeah,
That was on the 3DS, right? No, on the DS.
I think it was on PSP and
It was on. I think it was on PSP and DS. 'cause I
may have been
it
on the DS as well. So I'm not too sure on that one, but I never actually played it. I just remember it is all because I remember it being top down like the original GTA games.
Tex, if you want to start off your list, if you even made one.
I kind of did, kind of didn't. It's like I'm running this off memory, but like because you mentioned earlier on today, even if it has had a remake, even any game that still brings in the nostalgia value, for me, the top of the list would still have to be Pokemon Red and Blue.
Of course.
And Yellow, and obviously they got the remake of Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee just last year or the year before, and like even with those games, including Fire Red and Leaf Green, I absolutely cannot get enough of the Kanto region. I just honestly wish they would do another Heart Gold and Soul Silver for the Switch now. And just let me...
It will
I
happen.
know it's not going to happen, but just let me
It
explore
will. It will.
both Kanto and Johto in one go. And in all honesty, let me explore all the regions in one go would be the top level game for me. And make it an MMO. For the PC, why not? That would be the absolute goal for me and my absolute love. But, like, yeah, Pokemon Red and Blue, absolute nostalgia every time I play it.
It's one of my favourite games of all time. And, like, I love the fact that we got Let's Go Pikachu / Eevee. It was nice to bring that game to a new generation, because people that are getting into Pokemon now are like, you know, holy shit, there's like 850 to 900 Pokemon, but they don't realize that back then it was only 150, or 151. But the game itself just revolutionized that genre of game. Like, it became its own genre. It spawned loads of different other franchises. You know, probably the most famous one that spawned from it being Digimon. But I'm sure there's loads of others as well. But yeah, Pokemon Red and Blue, just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Absolutely phenomenal.
So that'd be the absolute top of my list. Secondary, and I mentioned my love of this series earlier on, and it did get a remake just recently, but the original PS2 version of Ratchet and Clank.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely love and adore the series altogether. It was the first one that gave me full, not necessarily open world, but full 3D level exploration, platforming, plus included with the whole weapon selection and weapon upgrades and everything else. It just blew my mind as a kid on the PS2 that it was so good.
Yeah.
And still to this day is annoying me that I never got to play 2 or 3 properly, and only ever got back into it when Gladiator released, and it was less of level exploration and more kind of closed level shoot 'em / beat 'em up kind of play style. But still, I absolutely loved it, to the point I've still got it upstairs. No case, no instruction booklet, but I've still got the disc upstairs, and it just barely plays on the PS2 that we've got because it's scratched to hell. But I still love it to bits. So I cannot fault that series at all. And then third on my list, again, returning to Pokemon, would probably have to be Pokemon, not the N64 Pokemon Coliseum, but the GameCube Pokemon Coliseum and Pokemon XD, where you got the full-on 3D story and everything else.
Yeah.
I would be so happy if they brought that out and remastered that for the Switch.
Yeah.
I adored that series. I adored the level design, the shadow Pokemon, the fact that you couldn't actually capture any wild Pokemon because they'd all gone, and the only ones that you could capture was shadow Pokemon. There was no Pokedex or anything. It was kind of a full-on dystopian, futuristic Pokemon series that really captured my imagination as a kid, and I would absolutely love for them to either remaster that both for the Switch or do a third in the series. I would absolutely love for that to happen.
Hey, you never know. They've brought out some random games, like when they suddenly announced the remaster of Mystery Dungeon.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
You know, I don't think anyone was expecting that. But it came out and it sold really well. And I, for one, who never played the original, loved it to death. Absolutely loved it.
I played the original Mystery Dungeon. And I think the only reason why I haven't got the remake of it yet is purely for the art style. It's a lot more hand-drawn, which I absolutely love. But at the same time, it doesn't feel like it's a proper throwback to the original, because the original, obviously, running on the Game Boy Advance for Red Rescue Team and the DS for Blue Rescue Team, it doesn't feel like it's been done justice, if that makes sense, in my own opinion, because they should have stuck with the actual in-game graphics for all the backgrounds and everything else rather than the hand-drawn graphics. And I think for that, to me, has actually been more of a put-off than wanting me to go back to it. So I think that's the only reason I haven't actually gone back. But that's me personally, anyway.
Fair enough.
Okay. You got any more?
What was that, 4? Or was that 3?
I think that was 3.
I think.
It doesn't have to be 5. It's just whatever you know, tickles your fancy.
Yeah.
I mean, we were talking about this earlier in the week, and Dizz has come up with a list of 22, so you're fine with just 3. I'm sure he can fill.
22. Okay.
The list grew.
So to what? The entire game list of your childhood.
The thing is that I went through the wiki pages. Go on, Chuck. You can take a quick break if you want. There you go. He's gone off quickly.
All right.
Yeah, I was going through like the wiki pages, and I started off with my major console when I grew up, which was the Mega Drive. And I was like, yep, loved it, yep, loved it, yep, loved it. And I saved all of these pages into a folder. And then I went through the NES, and then the Super NES, and then the Game Boy. And I looked at my list and I was like, I'm meant to get a list of 5, and I currently have 67 games in a folder. Like, but it took a while for me to cut it down. And I still don't think my list is right for me, but it's my list and I'm happy with it. But let's finish Tex and then we'll move over to Lance.
I think my last game, and this is just rolling off of memory now, despite the last game of the series being absolute garbage, my third game would probably have to be Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone on the PlayStation 1.
Really?
Now,
Okay.
yeah, I know it was a movie tie-in, and I know that normally those kind of movie tie-ins are absolutely garbage. However, considering that was the very first movie tie-in game that I ever played, it was on the PlayStation 1, so the graphics were horrendous. But me being at such a young age, I think it probably released the same year as the actual movie, which I think was 1999. I was 7 at the time, 7 or 8, depending on when it released. Shut up, you.
No, the film wasn't out that early. It was out when it was late in the 2000s.
Was it 2000s?
Yeah,
Hang
because
on.
it may have been tied with the book, but not with the film.
I thought it was just pre-millennium.
I think it was pre-millennium, and I'm literally going to check now.
It might have been 99.
Yeah, just on the cusp.
No, 2001. Okay, yeah, my years are slightly
Really?
off. Okay, so I'd have been 9 when that released, but I still remember it releasing on the PlayStation 1. And again, it was the first ever movie tie-in game that I ever played, and I absolutely loved it. The graphics, again, were shit. It was PlayStation 1. They would have been. But I would absolutely love for them to completely redo Harry Potter 1, 2, and 3 for the PlayStation 5, or even the PlayStation 4, just so I could completely replay the story in those, and the levels. Absolutely amazed me. Same as Harry Potter Quidditch World Cup. Amazing game for what it was.
Yeah.
As much as it was only Quidditch, I still really enjoyed it. And I completed that thing on PC a good 4 or 5 times because I loved it so much. So I would love for them to redo that. Now, this is going to be my last one. I'm not going to mention that. The last.
Sorry, that's my one. That's my one sign for the stream. There we go.
The last one, and it has literally just come to thought now, and I don't know if any of you are even going to know this. However, Ty the Tasmanian Devil, I think it was, on the PlayStation 2. I don't know if any of you guys would have even heard of it.
I know of Ty the Tasmanian Devil, yeah.
But I absolutely loved that game. Completed it 3 times on the PlayStation 2 and would love for that to continue as a series somewhere, somehow. Was brilliant, in my opinion, as a kid. It was very much Ratchet and Clank style / Sly Cooper style, where it was full on 3D levels and everything else, but I absolutely adored it to bits as a kid.
Mm.
That's fair.
So-
Hey, you never know, man. Some real random games get rebooted and remastered.
Yeah.
It could happen.
Sorry, it wasn't Ty the Tasmanian Devil, it was Ty the Tasmanian Tiger. My bad.
Still doesn't help me. Doesn't
I
help
was
me.
going to say, Tasmanian Devil was the cartoon character. Right? I know there was a
You had a
game
better
based
chance.
on
Oh, that was Taz.
Tasmanian.
That was Taz.
Yeah.
Oh, apparently he did get a HD remake for the Switch.
Oh, he's bought now. He's got that.
Yeah, oh boy, you know I'm buying that. Okay, I'm buying that.
PS5 exclusive.
Still doesn't help.
PS5 exclusive as well.
I'm gonna put that in. I'm gonna put that in the Doug Butter chat just for you, Dizz, just so you can see it.
Just add it onto your PS5 playlist. You get to play everything else, man.
The already extensive list. Okay, yeah. Okay.
He's gonna have a list as big as Chucker's library.
Poor guy.
I don't think
You're not wrong.
I don't think anyone can rival Chuck's game collection.
Nah, man.
I mean, I'm
gonna
pretty
try.
sure at
I
one
don't
point
wanna-
he's gonna have the GameStop guy working in his back room.
You
Definitely.
don't know how many times I crack jokes with the people at GameStop, and I'm like, I think I have most of your inventory.
You've got enough there to open up your own Blockbuster.
You really do.
For real.
Yeah.
Blockbuster.
I miss Blockbuster.
Memories.
Somebody typing an F in the chat for Blockbuster.
Early.
Poor Blockbuster.
Right.
I mean, That was my paradise. Yeah, go on, Lance. Your list.
Okay, my list is one is Duck Hunt, because that was essentially one of the first games I actually played. It was like one of the first consoles actually was my NES. At the time, like my babysitter at the time, her kids had the NES, and the first one I played was Duck Hunt. Had no idea how to play the game, because I was like, what do you do with this thing? So obviously gave me the gun, started shooting. I was like, I'm not sure if I'm hitting it or not, because I don't know if there's any markers or anything. Had no idea. Got eventually good at the game, enjoyed it. Brings back memories of me actually learning to shoot a gun at a duck, and then seeing that stupid dog when I missed. I was like, stupid dog. And then tried to shoot the dog, to which I realized you can't do that. I was like, that's so not fair.
Everybody's trying to shoot that poor dog.
I know, right?
That was your original Fortnite, wasn't it?
It was my original Call of Duty.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah, I always found that those damn light guns for the NES didn't quite aim up with where you were pointing it.
They didn't. That's the thing. They were always off by like it was a weird number. Like they were off by like 10 degrees on the right, and for some reason 17 on the left. And I was like, what? What? They're not even technically right. It's like the angle is just so off. But yeah, it's like that was memory swing, because it was like the very first time I actually got introduced into video gaming. And then I got a NES for my birthday, I think like that same year that we first played on it. And then it was Super Mario 3. That was my favorite game from then, because I used to play that like from Worlds 1 to 8 non-stop every day. Loved it to death. Probably one of my favorite games from that time. And
did you say Super Mario 3?
Yeah.
That was the first one that had the Tanuki power, wasn't it? Wasn't that him on the front cover?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the one where you can get the whistle and you can teleport to different worlds via pipes and so forth. So that for me was sort of like, that was like my real step into gaming. So that's kind of like why I enjoyed those so much. And then there were certain times where you would play, and if you had enough speed, especially with the Tanuki suit, and you could technically just fly up to the ceiling and just go across the level, and you're there, and that was it.
Speed run.
Essentially speed run, yeah.
Yeah, that's an awesome game. I actually remember being in my grandmother's flat on my 10th birthday, and she gave me Super Mario 3. And as much as I loved it, I didn't have a NES. so I couldn't play it.
Or maybe she was trying to hint that if you've got the game, at some point they'll let you get the console.
I think my nan did something similar to me. I can't remember what game it was, but she got me a Commodore 64 game. I was like, I haven't got one.
They all playing the same thing, right? Just plug it in.
But
it's alright, we got one 6 months later.
Yeah.
It's the thought that counts.
Yeah, exactly. It was nice that they even got you one. Like back then, like getting games was kind of like unheard of, as it is like it is now. Where it's like they got you a game, you're like, Nan, this doesn't play on anything I have. It's just like, it's fine, just plug it in somewhere. You're like, plug it into what? You know?
Like jamming a NES cartridge into your VHS player.
Oh man, the NES. See, there were so many great NES games, but the thing that I took away from that, which links is that when you got a NES cartridge and you were like, plug it in, doesn't work, and you were like, take it out, blow the whole thing out, and you're like, plug it back in, slowly do power, and it was like, it didn't work, try again.
The thing is,
then you come at it with a Q-tip.
Yeah, exactly. You went with a Q-tip. I remember that one. Oh.
Blowing the cartridge can still apply to even Switch games nowadays. That if it don't work, just give it a blow and put it back in, and you are good to go.
Yeah.
Seriously, I blow on everything now, and that's not a nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Like,
yeah, I'm sure you don't blow everything.
If something doesn't work, you either one, you hit it, or two, you blow on it, and if it doesn't work, you just stop using it. You're like, right, I'll just move on to something else.
Move on to something else.
Now, in all honesty, how many of you guys used to do that whole like put it in and out to try to get it to work?
Me.
And then
that was me.
Yeah. With my Game Boy, you know, you had to flip the switch when you put the cartridge in. Mine was ever so slightly loose, so I'd have to kind of like just go like that until it actually connected.
Oh.
And if I was on a car journey and we went over a hump or something like that, the cartridge would just come loose and that's it.
Game save lost.
I can imagine just playing.
Yeah.
See, I still to this day stand by my dad's modification of my old Game Boy Pocket. I had the original yellow Game Boy Pocket to play my Pokemon blue, red, yellow, gold, silver, Super Mario World, whatever else that I had for it. But he modified it because he was so sick of buying batteries. He linked it up to a power plug so that I could only play it when it was connected to a power socket. There was no battery.
Wow.
Like, he literally linked it in a 12-volt power plug. He linked it into the battery pack so that I could only play it when it was connected up to the wall socket.
Nice.
Because he was sick of buying batteries.
Nice.
And I've still got it to this day modified like that upstairs at the moment in the attic.
I mean, that's awesome, dude. Yeah.
Be Happy was a Game Boy and not a Sega Game Gear. Them things took 6 batteries and
Oh
lasted
my
like
God,
about
I'm
20
missing
minutes.
that.
Hell no,
The
thank
Game
you.
Gear. I think that was like my first. Not I didn't personally own it, but a friend, someone I knew had it, and that was my first real experience with a handheld console. And I just remember that thing being bulky and heavy as anything. Man, I had biceps as big as Schwarzenegger by the end of that. Whole bit. It was like, and I remember playing. I think it was Shinobi on there. Was one of the games on it. And
Shinobi, man.
yeah, and it was like it was played. I was like, okay, this is kind of getting interested. I'm kind of getting into the hang of it, and it was more. I only got to play it when I went round to his house, and I got whatever games he had. I would play, but I still remember the batteries he would go through, like Duracell double A's. It was like just take them all out, and he's like, here's a fresh new pack from Sainsbury's or whatever supermarket they got it from. Just slap them in, and it was good, and it would run, and then like by the end of the week, it was dead again. That was just insane how much power that thing took. It was nuts.
It was like reloading your guns in Call of Duty. You're just like loading up shotgun shells in your little.
Why is the sleight of hand working? Come on.
Trust me, I recently got one gifted to me for my collection, and
Nice.
it had some battery acid on it. It was a little used and abused, but I took it to my local retro store. They fixed it up for me. But man, as soon as I plugged in batteries, the owner of the store goes, "Well, here you go. Good luck." And I'm like, "Thanks, man." Like, you know. But I haven't played with it since because I ain't buying that many batteries.
Invest in rechargeables, even they won't last that long. But yeah,
I said this last week. Like the Game Boy was the invention of rechargeable double A's, triple A's.
Yeah.
But if you want to talk about chunky handheld consoles, then I think even weightier than the Game Gear was the Lynx.
Oh my god!
What? Like
I
the
never had that.
No,
where the body,
I never had it, but I remember playing on it.
The central was the same as the Game Gear and the same thickness as well. It was kind of like the Switch in the dock, and you're just holding the whole thing.
Basically.
But when you're past the screen, the handles went all the way out. Like, it was just massive, and you're holding this thing in your hand like, I can't believe you can take this everywhere, but you really couldn't because it filled up any bag you put it in.
That's not a pocket. That's not a pocket edition. I promise.
Could you imagine trying to fit that into your pocket back then? It would be like you just get like one of the corners in, and then the thing would just have its own safety net with straps attached to you.
But that was the perfect thing about these, like with the Lynx, the Game Gear, the Game Boy. Like the thing that I was after more than the games itself and the console was the carry bag.
Oh yeah,
like,
I still remember the Game Boy one.
Yeah, like every one of these handheld consoles had their own personalized carry bag, and to this day, I would love to collect those, like just the bags themselves, because they were awesome to look at.
Mm-hmm.
I got a couple of them, and I got one for the Game Boy Advance, one for my SP, the Game Gear. All of them have a bag, and they all like the Game Gear one is like a satchel. It's like a whole side bag. The Game Gear.
It's like a whole messenger bag.
Yeah, I'm like, well, you know, this will work. I can totally hide this. But
someone asked Chuck, "Oh, do you want me to sign for that? What are you talking about?" Your parents
for real. Like, you know what? No. My favorite one would be my SP though. The Game Boy SP I have, the case is about like this big, and it's got the little belt hook to it. So, you know, it's kind of like your little small bag you can carry. It's not too big, but that thing lasted forever, man. You put that thing on the charger, and that SP would last you hours and hours.
I swear to God, somewhere still at my parents' house, I've still got the tribal edition of the Game Boy Advance SP somewhere, probably with my copy of Pokemon Sapphire in there.
Really?
I just don't know where it is. Yeah.
Nice.
It's got to be at my parents' house somewhere, because I never gave that to anyone. I never sold it anywhere. I swear I've still got it somewhere. I just don't know where. But it was the one with the
That's-
whole tribal design on the front, on the main console itself, on the back, and everything. And I love that thing to pieces.
I got a Mario Edition SP, and then I got a Pokemon custom made original Game Boy Advance with atomic purple buttons, backlit screens.
Wow.
We did it.
What
We
the
did
hell?
it big, man. Yeah, we did a
Nice.
fully modded original, the wide ones, with a full 101 screen and all that. But Game Boy, and Game Boy Advance collecting is fun for me, man. I enjoy it. I mean, I don't try to go for like a box set. That's a nightmare itself. It's cardboard. It's terrible, man.
Yeah.
Then you gotta buy protective sleeves and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, for Game Boy games, I will only buy the actual cartridges now.
yeah, me too. I do loose carts. It's easier to collect for. It's
It's easier to find as well.
yeah.
you know?
Yeah,
See,
you're not
I'm-
paying an extra $60 for a box, bro.
I'm still so happy with the fact that when I managed to go to Japan on the 3 times that I did, I managed to find Pokemon Red, Blue, and Green all boxed and admittedly resealed, but still boxed with the cartridges still in there. I've also got Pokemon Yellow in Japanese as well. No box, but I've at least got the cartridge. And I'm happy to just have that entire generation in Japanese.
Yeah.
That
I
only
think
cost me probably
my-
£90 in total. Whereas you
Yeah.
could sell them now online for probably £300+.
And right now, Pokemon is stupid expensive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
At least over here, Pokemon Emerald for GBA is going for I think a little over $100 right now.
Wow.
Wow.
I'm going to have a very, very quick look at that.
It's really expensive.
Credit
My
card.
only boxed Pokemon game is this one right here.
Oh.
This is my only boxed Pokemon game, and it's the big box edition.
Yeah.
But-
Nice.
Hang on.
Bro, if I tell you, I picked
Oh.
this up for $25 at a GameStop.
He's got to get his credit
Did you
card.
offer? Did
Man,
you,
you
did
and
you
your
offer,
25 bucks.
as I say,
worth
did
of
you offer
V-Bucks.
this kid V-Bucks as well?
No. This was somebody who traded it in. They said they didn't want this, and I was kind of pissed off because if I would have showed up, the lady told me, she was like, if you would have showed up about an hour and a half earlier, the guy traded in Soul Silver as well, complete in box.
Wow.
And I was like, I missed it by like an hour, dude. I was so
Oh.
pissed. I was like, man, I would have been able to get both.
Yeah, that's
Um,
a shame, dude.
Because to find them complete in box like that, it's really tough or really,
Yeah.
really expensive. It's a couple
Yeah,
$100.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think Heart Gold is close to like almost $200 right now, complete in box. So
Wow.
to
Oh,
find
Texas
Soul
back.
Silver, it's close to that.
Here we go. He has
Yeah.
returned.
Uh-oh.
So,
Uh-oh.
I've got Black 2 English
Ooh.
for the DS. Again, just like yourself, I've got Soul Silver Big Box Edition.
He was just
However-
talking about
It
getting
was
that.
just
Yeah.
yeah.
However, I unfortunately do not have the Pokewalker with me anymore. I lost that for some reason. I don't know where it's gone. I
Worthless.
still think it's at my parents somewhere, but I've got at least got the box with the game still in there at least.
It's worthless.
And
Send one of
Pokewalkers
us.
are cheap. That's the most important part is getting the game. The Pokewalkers are cheap. You can get one for a good price.
And then I've got both Black 2 and White 2 in Japanese as well. the
Nice.
Nice.
'Cause,
Very nice.
That very same year, I think I was actually with Lance when they released, and I bought a Japanese 3DS with this game releasing, and I
remember
bought
this, yeah.
both copies purely for the fact that I know I'm gonna keep them.
Mm-hmm.
So
I remember
and-
when you bought it as well. Like, so what it was, the year that Tex and I first met is when we were in Japan, and we were walking through. Well, we were walking towards the Pokemon Center, and I don't know if a game had just gotten released then, as I can't remember.
I think
But
they
remember-
just gotten released over
Yeah,
the last few weeks.
we had gone into the Pokemon store, and we were just walking around, and I just saw Tex beeline straight for the counter. I was like, what are we getting? He was like, let me just buy this Midnight Blue Nintendo DS. I was like, looks pretty sick. The color was great. And I was like, hey, you gonna play the games? You can't read kanji and stuff. He was like, oh, I'll figure it out. Then he bought both Pokemon games. And then I think he bought something else. And I was like, how much did that set you back? He was like, doesn't matter. And then I think when we came back from Japan, like he went back ahead of me. I think I remember hearing something had happened to one of the Pokemon games he was trying to play. Like he just couldn't figure out what happened. Yeah. And I think because Phenom told me something that happened with the game, and he got mad at the game. And I was like, what? Well, that's what happens when you buy it in Japanese. You have no idea what happens. And Phenom told me that like you had to restart from fresh again or something. I was like, well, that was that. And this is obviously when I first knew Tex. Like, this is like, what, nearly a decade ago? No, 8 years ago? It was just one of the
Something
most
like
fun.
that,
Yeah, it was one of the most
Yeah,
fun
it was
things
8 years ago. It was September.
Yeah.
Like it was 8 years ago, September. So
Yeah, it was just one of the most funniest things I'd seen Tex, like having met Tex go absolutely nuts, buying all this stuff. I went, but you can only play the Japanese one. But yeah, when you get back to England, you're gonna re-buy all this again. He was like, yes. I was like,
well,
okay.
to be fair, I didn't re-buy it all. I re-bought Black 2.
Wait, hang on. Phenom told me you said you re-bought both.
No. I only bought one.
Okay. Either way, it was still that was the first time I'd met Tex, and you know what an impression he made in Japan aside from red shorts. But that's another thing entirely.
Do not start with those shorts, man. I've still got them. I will wear them on stream.
Do it.
But right, Tech, is there any nostalgia games that you can think of that bring you back to your childhood?
We just did Tex.
We did Tex.
Sorry, not Tex, Chuck. I meant Chuck. Let's go
For
to
me,
Chuck.
oh man, I live playing retro games, bro.
Yeah, you don't have to pick 5. Just pick something that's special to you.
Oh, I got 5 that were good.
Okay.
I made a little list here.
I did give him pre-warning.
Okay.
I was pre-warned for this one. To be honest with you, man, for me, the first, what got me into gaming, as weird as it sounds, I'm not as old as you guys think I am. Burger Time on the arcade, man. That was like it for me. That's where I started enjoying video games. I did that at at my grandfather's old bakery.
Nice.
They had an arcade spot there, and that's all I played for a while. But that got me into gaming. I started to enjoy like the arcades and things like that. And then for me, for like a nostalgia hit on something I can play like all the time, just constantly just replay it, is Super Metroid, man. Super Metroid that's my thing. I've beat that game so many times, and it's fun every time I play it. It's never really like you get bored of playing it or nothing like that. Also, Final Fight for me is
Final Fight.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
one of my go-to beat 'em ups, bro. I can play that as many times as possible and not get bored of it.
Nice.
See, this is where I'm going to argue with something on my list. Now, Final Fight was great, but for me, the better was Streets of Rage 2.
Yes. I was a Super Nintendo kid though growing up.
And I was a Mega Drive.
Yeah.
Well, Genesis. For you.
I had a Genesis, but I don't know. I guess it's because I played Super Nintendo more with my friends, and everybody else had one. That's what I got stuck to. But Streets of Rage is amazing.
It is.
That's a great beat 'em up as well.
So good.
Super Mario World, bro. That's every person in our age group, like their childhood at this point.
Yeah.
You played a Super Nintendo, you had Super Mario World, and that was it, man. And like you guys were saying earlier with the Tanuki suit, is back then with the cape, you just fly and then pull back and all the way through the level, just fly all the way through the top.
Yeah.
And the last one for me, I don't know if you guys ever played this, TurboGrafx game that I actually still own the original with my TurboGrafx is Blazing Lasers. That is amazing. It's an amazing game. If you guys
personally doesn't ring a bell to me, but I would definitely look it up.
It's one of the best shoot 'em ups I've probably ever played. Got an amazing soundtrack, very 80s, very colorful, but it is an amazing shoot 'em up. You guys should definitely take a look at that whenever you guys get
Blazing Lasers, yeah.
Blazing Lasers.
Absolutely. That just reminds me of the film Dodgeball.
Yeah.
You know what? This is Blaze. This is Laser. This is Blazer. Just took me back to that.
It's crazy. It's a really good game. I still own the original for it. I'm missing a manual for it. I got the original case in the game, but manuals for that thing are stupid price. So that might not happen.
Yeah, you want to complete those kind of old school collections. You're talking breaking out Tech's credit card kind of money.
Yeah, man.
Because I don't know if you know this, Chuck, but he has a very large limit on his credit card.
Yeah.
I wouldn't exactly call
nice.
£1,000 a very large limit, to be fair.
It's £1,000 more than I have physically.
Well, to be fair, I do have a GameStop credit card. That doesn't help me any.
No, I can imagine it doesn't.
Does not help me any. But yeah, that's my 5, man. Those would take me back.
That's
to
a
being
cool
kid.
list of games, man. That's a
It
cool
is.
list of games.
I actually realized I forgot to mention my last two.
Go for it.
My last two were Street Fighter 2. From the SNES,
Yes.
or was Street Fighter 2, that one, and
Yeah.
then
Turbo?
on Turbo. That
Has to be Turbo.
I just
Gotta be the
remember playing
original.
it,
It's gotta be
and it
Turbo.
was like, oh my! I played the original. That's the thing, though, and I remember facing off against Sagat, who was the boss at the time, and I was like, this dude is unbeatable because he would literally do what he does now, which is spam the tiger blast, and then he would just do the uppercut. I'm like, I can't beat this. And Ryu back then was, I'm pretty sure was quite literally sick. He looked so skinny and frail. I'm like, this is not the Ryu that I remember playing. But yeah, I it's Street Fighter 2 Turbo. Like that was like my introduction into beat 'em ups, and where my love for beat 'em ups still exists.
Yeah. Of course.
So I would always be. And then the last one for me is Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3 on the PS2.
Ooh.
For me, that was
Yeah.
I still have
that was me through like my uni, like college into uni into like young adulthood type thing. That was the game for me. I loved it to death. To this day, it's still one of my favorite like beat 'em ups ever. Especially when you could do Goku's Warp Kamehameha. Oh my god, the amount of times I clutched tournaments with that move, it was nuts. Like undoubtedly one of my best moments.
I swear to
in that
God,
game.
dude. Like, the original Dragon Ball Z Budokai is still, to this day, one of my all-time favorite fighters. Purely for the fact it didn't rely on directional positioning for the attacks.
Yeah.
So, like, here you get Street Fighter where it's like diagonal up down, and then square for Hadouken or whatever. It was literally square, circle for a Kamehameha wave.
Yeah.
Exactly. Give me the simple button presses for combos like that any day over requiring directional positioning. That to me just is stupidity on the next level.
Yeah.
And it is the reason to this day as to why Budokai is one of my all-time favorite fighters. And I still have it upstairs, and my kid loves it as well because it is so simple to play with.
I've still got the PS1 Japanese copies.
I have that game that you're talking about.
Yeah, Dragon Ball Z World Tour and Dragon Ball Z Final Bout. And there was a third one, which I've forgotten what the name is, but I remember getting these in some random shop in some seedy little street in central London. Just like, hey, we're a retro game store. Why don't you come on in? And it's like, you look pretty seedy, but you invited me in, so I'm going to come in. And then I just remember picking up those PS1 Japanese Dragon Ball Z games, and I was just like, I've started my collection of Japanese games. And I literally went there the week after with my PS1 because he said he was going to chip it for me so I could actually play the Japanese games. And he did it for free. Because he knew I was going to keep going back and buying games. Joke's on him. I never went back again. Because like I'm.
There was a kid in my form in high school who would chip your PS1 for you for a tenner.
Damn, dude, a tenner.
See, it must have been easy then, but I didn't know how to do that kind of thing.
I still remember to this day being able to buy an additional expansion chip that essentially, like with the original PlayStation, there was an extra slot at the very back.
In the back.
Exactly, that you, on the back left that you could plug into that allowed you to play copied games. And I still, to this day, do not know the reason why Sony allowed that kind of expansion slot. I mean, I can understand it on the PlayStation 2. There was an extra expansion slot on the back of the PlayStation 2, and it was for the network expansion pack, which I do still have. And the only reason I actually got that was purely for Ratchet and Clank Gladiator, which had online play to play against other people that had that game as well. That was the only reason I ever bought it. But I don't know why they allowed it for the PlayStation 1. Why have that extra expansion slot if it did all, other than allowing for chipping?
Well, that's the thing, though. You got to remember, back then, it would have been something that they put into design, but it would have only been something they could have used in Japan. Like, it may have been something that was specifically for the region. Like for us, when we got the PS2, how many of us here can honestly say, apart from you, Tex, could say that the expansion bay in the back of the PS2, the big chunky one, you knew what it was for? Yeah. I got it and I was like, there's this just a big empty hole in the back of my PlayStation 2. It wasn't until like years later I discovered it was for networking. And to
I thought it was for airflow. Like,
I mean, sure, I mean, if it works, it works, but
whatever it is, man.
Whatever it is. I mean, that's the first form of air cooling, but sure.
Exactly.
Open the door before you play, and then close the door when you
exactly. But yeah, that's the thing. Like, I didn't know till later. Like, there was, I think at the time, I only knew of 2 games that you could play online with the PlayStation 2. One of them was Final Fantasy, I want to say 12. That was it 12? There was one of the Final Fantasy games on PlayStation which only could be played online in Japan. So I was like, what's the point in bringing it here if we can't play it online anyway? And then I found out there was one that Tex played, and I was like, oh, so there was 2 that you could do it for. But it still made it, it was essentially, you build a model like that with an expansion bay, which 3/4 of the world can't play with, and only one quarter can use the abilities. So I was like, nah.
And it's like that with a couple of consoles. I don't know if you guys know, but if you get a Dreamcast, if you find a Model 0 or a Model 1, it already plays burnt games right out the box. You don't even have to do anything to it.
Wow, okay.
It's a mistake. I did not know that. It's a mistake that they did with the first 2 models. And then if you notice, that's why they made a second and third model to get rid of those. But that's why it died off so fast, because of piracy. You literally just burn your disc and it'll play automatic. You don't have to do nothing to it.
Damn.
And,
I never actually owned a Dreamcast, and I never actually saw one available for sale. And the only game I ever actually recall from the Dreamcast series was Night Zero, I think it was, or the Night series.
I remember
it was
the Dreamcast coming
the Jester as the main character.
But
It's
I
the
don't
only thing
remember
I
much of
remember.
the games from it though.
You must have
To
heard
me,
of
Jet Set Radio is the
Shenmue.
best thing on there.
Oh, I've heard
Yeah,
of Shenmue,
Shenmue.
but
Yeah.
I never heard of that until Shenmue 3 was announced.
Ah, okay.
Really?
So yeah, I'd never heard of any of the others.
It was another case of like how Neo Geo was. It was really like full of arcade ports,
Right.
and Capcom had a lot to do with that, which is good. It had a lot of really good arcade style games, a lot of fighting games on there. And it had internet back in the day in 1999 when it got released, but piracy killed it. And to touch on the subject of finding ports on your consoles, my GameCube is fully modded. It's chipped up, and it's got the Game Boy player in the bottom, and then the bottom. So I don't know how many of you guys actually have a GameCube, but you know the bottom has like 3 little doors that you could open.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, one of the little doors has a little mod slot like a little chip slot you could slide something into.
Mm-hmm.
It's not used for anything, but my local retro store actually sells a SD adapter about this big that you plug in the bottom of that, and now you can play things off of an SD card.
Wow.
And I'm like,
Wow.
I didn't even know that was a thing until he
neither
called
did
me and
I.
was like, hey man, I got something for you. And we slapped it on there, and now I have a 128 gig hard drive slapped on the bottom of my GameCube. So my whole library of GameCube is on an SD card now.
That's
So
pretty
it's
insane.
crazy for something that's been there for who knows what reason
Yeah.
is now getting used for something completely different.
I can only
Which
imagine
was not
that.
intended.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
I can only imagine that slots like that with the PlayStation 1, the PS2, the GameCube, the N64, if it had one. I don't know if it did, but the Dreamcast, all that kind of stuff. The only reason I can imagine slots like that were created for is literally for development work that they just never removed.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah.
The Nintendo 64 has the adapter in the bottom as well, and that takes a floppy disk drive that goes in the bottom that was never sold here. It was only sold in Japan, and I think they only made a couple hundred, and that was it. They had like 5 games for it.
Wow, okay. I've not heard of that one before.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. They have all kind of but I mean, who knows? Maybe in a couple of years they're gonna say the same thing about the PS4 and be like, oh hey, you know that slot you never touched? You know?
Yeah.
It's always like that with
You
these
know that port that
older-
looks like a USB slot?
Yeah.
It really
Apparently,
was.
you just jam your dick in it. That's what it's for.
That's it. That's it. That's it.
So
It's-
Dizz has
it's
been
crazy.
gaming wrong completely for all these years.
It's why all my consoles break.
You're not supposed to stick your hard drive in there.
I look at a console and I'm just like, where's my dick go? I just
There's a distinct difference between that and physical media.
I don't know what I'm going to do with the digital only PS5. Where does it go?
Well, there is
How
a lightning,
many of you were
lightning
pissed
port.
off about that? Was anybody here pissed off about
The
that?
digital version? I wasn't. I understand
wasn't-
why they did it,
Yeah, I can
but
understand.
at the same time, I understand why they did it, because if I didn't have to worry about like space for games, unlike you, Chuck, I have literally no space in here to put anything of a collector's
Me
edition
neither.
anymore. I mean, you've got a GameStop to put stuff in. Don't worry, they'll reserve a shelf for you. Chuck shelf.
We got our
is
own
what it'd be called.
drawer. We have our own drawer at GameStop. That's a plus.
Wow.
That will get upgraded to a shelf, and then a storeroom, and then a building,
And then a back room, and that's it.
So if it wasn't for the fact that I would sometimes want to get a physical edition of a game because I'm like, that looks nice, I wouldn't mind having a copy of that. I would primarily have gone for the digital version or the digital PlayStation 5 because I would be like, it saves money. I don't need to worry about physical copies of games because I literally would have no space to put anything. And it makes it easier for if I want to just like download something, I just download it straight onto the machine. And if I need to get rid of it to make space for something else, I can just delete straight off. You know, and it's not costing me space, so to speak, because I can always just get it back and whatnot.
Yeah.
This is why I mentioned to you earlier, Chuck, about the whole physical copies with downloadable codes. Because essentially, you still own the physical copy, and then you have the download code to download it after, and you can delete it and then re-download it again later on. Like with the digital edition, you have the option of doing that, but obviously with the physical edition, as soon as you trade it in, you don't own it anymore. So this is why I mentioned to you earlier, like how frequent are you to do that where you have the physical edition with a download copy?
And that
interrupting
comes
that.
back.
That's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. No, like I get it, but to me, like I don't ever really resell anything. Because I only buy what I want. I don't really
buy to keep.
I got into that. I saw a lot of collectors that I hang out with, buddies of mine who are just like, oh, this is out, I want this, and they just go buy like all the random junk. And I'm just like, I kind of want to I want my collection to be handpicked, you know?
Yeah.
Like I don't really want just, oh, this new game came out today, I'm gonna go buy that, and so did this one. But I don't plan on ever selling my collection, but I've had it happen to me more than once where I've lost digital games due to if they lose their copyright, or if, for example, their copyright is over for those 5 or 6 years. For example, one of the primary games is DuckTales on PS3 and Xbox. That game disappeared off the internet forever.
Yeah.
There was one
I still
recently,
have a
wasn't there? What
PS3
was the one that
copy.
was recently?
It was the remastered that was out on Xbox.
Yeah, it's gone.
And suddenly, without a trace, it just vanished from the store.
It
And
got,
it was like,
it got
sorry,
No, it
lost the
was
license.
the Lego games off of Steam.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
lost,
because
they lost their copyright and they had to get taken
technically
off of Steam.
Yeah, because technically no one owns the rights to them.
Yeah.
So as soon as somebody loses the right to them, they have to be taken off the store, and then no one can buy them anymore. Which is why I absolutely abhor digital versions only, because as soon as you lose the digital version online, you have no other way of
You
buying
are
it.
not getting it back.
Exactly. Like, I think the Wii online store closed down probably, a year, 2 years ago, something like that. You can no longer download any of those games because the store has completely closed. It's not just a matter of not being able to buy them anymore.
Yeah.
You physically cannot download them anymore.
Or play
So-
them at all. Like, you're stuck.
Exactly. So you will not have only digital editions. If it did not get a physical edition, you will, and it was only digital, you're whether you honor the license to that or not, you are absolutely which is why I do not like the digital only editions anymore.
I'm gonna add to that, one game I missed out on that I'll probably never be able to play is Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Oh.
And that's a game that disappeared,
I
and
got it.
I've
And there's
got it
no
on
way to-
Xbox 360. So when I used to do
Same
YouTube,
here.
that game I did a Let's Play in that and uploaded it to my YouTube, and it got blocked in Germany.
yeah.
Why?
I
But the thing
don't
is,
know.
though,
This
Senpai-
was the start of them starting to block videos in certain countries.
okay.
They didn't give me an exact. It must have been something to do with
Reason.
copyright, but yeah, that video never went out in Germany.
The thing is, though,
one of
Senpai,
my
Sorry.
sorry,
Go
Chuck,
ahead.
as
go-
mentioned, like, as soon as the Xbox 360 store goes down, which I imagine will likely be soon anyway, considering that you've got the Xbox Series X releasing soon.
Yeah.
Yep.
As soon as that store goes down, you are not going to be able to download that anymore. So unless you've already got it on your hard drive, you're
Yeah.
which is why, again, I hate digital stores. Because as soon as they age too far, the suppliers will no longer support them and you can no longer download them.
Mm.
And I do not support this way of working.
No, I agree.
Because
So-
they're not going to give you your money back. They're not going to
Exactly.
give you anything back for it. And then you're kind of stuck. My buddy, his PS4 actually has still the demo copy of PT. You can't get that.
No, you
nowhere.
cannot download that anymore.
It doesn't
They-
even exist.
They completely removed it.
When
And-
that first
and-
got taken off, I swear PS4s were going on eBay for like $500-$600.
Yeah,
They're
because
still
you
like
could
$300 or
not download it anymore.
$400. They're still expensive, but that's the thing. That's why I personally, and it's nothing against anybody. You buy digital if you want, cool, great, awesome. But I own a PS Vita. I own 2 PS Vitas, and that store is basically about to die at the end of its life cycle. And anything I own digital probably won't ever be able to be played again because
Yeah.
it doesn't exist.
I have a PSP and a Vita.
My
and,
PS
yeah, exactly the same.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
have that
my
as well.
PS4, I don't know, 10 years, 15 years from now, when there's no PS4, store or anything like that, I have a whole collection that I could just slap in there and play.
Exactly
Big
why I
brain.
do not like the digital versions anymore.
Mm.
Yeah, and God forbid, man, I ever have to, bro. I can sell everything. There's no, hey, man, I'll sell you my PS4 and my account and my 20 games. It's kind of like, hey, here's everything and sell it off in pieces and sell it off for whatever you want for it. But
This
that's
is
why
why
I'm against
this is why
digital.
digital editions don't sit right with me anymore because, like, by their own TOS, you cannot sell the account. But as soon as that store goes down, you also cannot resell the games or trade them in or re-download them as soon as the store shuts down. And you can guarantee, as you rightly mentioned, Chuck, within 10-15 years, that PS4 store is going to shut down because it's no longer going to be supported. There'll be a PS6 or an Xbox Series W or something
20.
like that. Exactly, and it's not going to be supported. So just like with PT, which I'm looking at right on eBay at the moment, is a minimum of £500 for a PS4 with PT still installed because it's no longer available on any other store. You are f***ed.
Yeah.
Which is
That
exactly
much
why
for a demo.
Exactly. But that's exactly the reason I do not agree with digital only versions.
And
Yeah.
to
Because
me,
of-
I really don't like it, man.
Archiving is the main reason that all games, in my opinion, should be released physical. Now, I know I'm working on a game at the moment. Hell, it is slow going. And agreed, Steam has tons of digital only games. Because it's PC. However, when the is Steam going to shut down? Hell, never.
Nobody knows. Yeah, and that's the thing. I trust Steam more than I do Nintendo, PlayStation, all these other ones. You're just kind of like, that's a phase, man. That's gonna shut down after that console dies out.
Exactly. However, the only problem that I have with Steam is as hardware evolves, so does their support of older games. Like, say for example, with Blizzard, up until the point of being able to really re-download StarCraft originally, Command & Conquer Remake. Unless you had that on a physical copy, Command and Conquer, you could not buy that anywhere other than a physical copy, up until the remake. So if you've got the original copy, hell, you are laughing right now. But you try and buy that anywhere else other than a physical copy, you've got no chance.
Yeah.
Despite it being relatively the same hardware, but albeit upgraded. It's still the same, but you've got no chance.
That's the problem. I've had so many issues with digital only that after it happened to me a couple of times, I just kind of stuck to where if I can get it physical, I'll buy a digital just to not open it. But if worst case they take down the store, I'll pop open my physical and I can keep playing whatever I was playing. And that's why I like retro consoles so much, because there's no way to take it from you. You can't take it from somebody unless you're gonna come and snatch the card out of my hand. You're not gonna get it out of my system, you know. And disc based and even my PS3. For the majority of most of my systems, I have at least 30 to 75 games, give or take, per system. But even for like the PS3, I still go out and hunt PS3 games. I still go out and hunt Xbox 360 games, even OG Xbox games. And I do it because of what we said, man. Once they start kicking those things off the list and they start losing copyrights, they start getting snagged off the store really quickly. And DuckTales was one that when it got kicked off the list, I managed to get a buddy of mine got me a PS3 sealed copy. He managed to find me a sealed copy 2 days before it got blacklisted. He found it on the bottom shelf at a Walmart. Paid, I think it was like $6 or $7 for it. But it was getting kicked out. So once it gets blacklisted off the digital market, if it did have a physical release, that gets pushed out as well. They send all that back to whoever they're sending it back to, whatever their corporate is. They send it back and then they get rid of it
because technically they're not allowed to sell it anymore.
Exactly. So I'm just glad that, you know, I want people to, like, who are getting into gaming, man, like, realize what you're doing. Like, when you start spending a lot of money on digital, that's console related digital, you never really know where your money's going, man. It's kind of up in the air. It's yours for a couple of years. You're borrowing it.
Exactly, because technically you own the license for it, but as soon as that store closes down, that's it. You're f***ed. So, say for example, as Dizz and Lance will know, as soon as Blockbuster closed down, you may have a Blockbuster card with God knows how many points on there to be able to rent as much as you want, but as soon as that store closes down, those points mean f*** all.
Yep.
Absolutely, man.
That's the but like
that's
I said,
the brilliance
there's
of
a new
digital
generation.
future.
Yeah, that's the future of gaming, man. Everybody's on this digital train and microtransactions. Oh my god.
Oof.
This is exactly why
Microtransactions.
Exactly.
Well, meaning like how Fortnite is and all these battle passes, you're just spending so much money on digital content that it's never gonna
amount to anything.
My buddy Beard, I think Dizz, I think you know Beard.
Yeah.
He was a huge Fortnite player. Put a couple $1,000s in Fortnite skins and this and that for nothing. Like, now he's like, oh man, I regret wasting my money. And I'm like, well, you know, you kind of, you know, it happens. It becomes a craze. Everybody goes for it, and then what can you do with that? Nothing. You can't sell it. You can't get your money back. And
exactly.
Not that my collection's an investment, but if I ever land on hard times, I'm not gonna live in a shelter with my collection. I can promise you that. You have to have something to kind of like get. It's kind of more like it's a hobby with a little bit of an investment as well.
Yeah.
There's always
something you can fall back on
in
hard times just in case.
Exactly. That's all it is.
But right, we should probably wrap up there because we're about to hit 2 hours.
Really?
Which is we're about to hit 2 hours.
Holy crap, we are. Okay.
Chuck, man,
but
thank you so much for coming on and sharing the stories with us, man. Where can we find you? One more time, where can we find you? On Twitch and socials and everything like that?
Chuck Z Taylor's one, man. You can find me there all over the place.
Wonderful. Dizz, where can we find you?
My house.
You can find me... Whose house? Your house. Twitch.tv/InvisibleDizz or on Twitter and Instagram, which is just at InvisibleDizz.
Lance?
You can find me at twitch.tv/LancelotArcher. On Twitter, it's a different handle, but it's my original Xbox handle, but it goes under the banner of @ShiroArcher. And so, yeah, that's where you can find me on there.
And Tex?
Same as always, which is, yes, at my place, why not? Which is twitch.tv/Techsnologic, and then same for Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, I think is Techsnologic Gaming, if I remember correctly, but still, you can catch me anywhere.
I've been SENPIEMAN. You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/SENPIEMAN. Same for Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Guys, thank you very much for joining us this week. This has been absolutely amazing, and I'm dreading editing it. Have a great weekend, and we'll catch up with you soon.
See you later, guys.
Bye.
Later.
So obviously I told the bitch no and I locked him in his house.